Welcome to Live, Let Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Myka and Steve.
Hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
of Live,
Let
Thrive. What is up, Myka, man?
I'm chilling, Stevie Stacks. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Long day of work, ready to do this podcast and thing. And this is episode 141, as you told me just now, of your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, real estate podcast in the world. And we have a special guest today.
Who we got today, Stevie Stacks?
His name is Mike G. I was about to flow, but I didn't have that.
I love it. Should have went.
Mike, what is his name?
Glaspie.
I was going to say Gillespie, but Glaspie.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, welcome, Mike, to the show. And you're going to lay down some good stuff for us today. It's going to be a good episode. And ready to roll, man. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
Sir.
All right, let me read this bio real quick. Mike Glaspie is a commercial real estate broker in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mike received his bachelor's degree in business management and is currently pursuing a master's in business administration. He served 10 years in the U.S. Army, with the majority spent in special operations as a Green Beret. Since purchasing his first investment property in 2014, Mike switched his focus to creative investing. In less than 3 years, he completed several transactions in a variety of ways as subject twos, seller financing, wholesales, flips, syndications, and buy and holds. Mike currently holds over 100 rental properties and short-term arbitrages in multiple states and co-founded an investment-centric real estate team, all while serving full-time in the military. Now, as a veteran, Mike continues to practice real estate with a focus on educating other veterans on how to build the lifestyle they deserve through creative investing. I love it, man.
Woo! Man said 100 doors. 100 doors.
I love how you read that. I'm just going to take that clip and just go to sleep with that every night. I like it.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for serving our country. We really appreciate that so much. And I believe you're our second Green Beret on the show, right?
Nice.
Adam Johnson, the other Green Beret.
Nice.
Yeah. So he's killing it over there in Tennessee.
Okay.
So and oddly enough, he's a subject to master too, man. He loves that subject to stuff. And so I can't wait to dig into that.
Absolutely. It's good to know that, there's other guys out there doing it. You learn to do more with less, right? In our specific field, and subject to is probably like that one thing. That's that one strategy that you can do that exact same scenario. So I like that.
So I guess I'm going to start off here then. So how many of your units are Airbnbs?
So right now we just literally closed on another 9 units that are going to be Airbnbs about 2 weeks ago. So right now we have right at 21 Airbnbs.
Whoa. And they're all arbitrages?
No. So the arbitrages, there's only 4 currently that are arbitrage. Nice little downtown lofts, beautiful Class A style property. We were able to get them for a decent lease, finance the furniture, right? Keep the capital out of our pocket as much as possible. And they're performing very well as well.
That's what's up.
Nice. And how do you go about financing furniture? Who do you use?
Yeah, so you can use anybody. So to be honest, we use Ashley's Furniture Store, right? But you can use Wayfair. They offer financing. And to be quite honest, I'm maybe IKEA. I don't know. But a lot of furnishing stores provide in-house financing, right? So, I mean, if it works for you, in the situation for us, it was 0% interest. So it was like, all right, it makes sense, right? Let's just do it. We had to do a capital call at the end of the 12 years, but it was 0% interest for the first 12 months. It's like, that makes perfect sense. No money down. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful right there. You can start a bunch up that way.
Exactly. Because that's the beautiful thing about the arbitrage, as your entire audience knows, right? It's how do you keep more money in your pocket and try to maximize the cash flow? Well, we turned around with an arbitrage. All we had to do was pay the first month's rent and a security deposit. All right, not bad. And then we furnished the furniture, so that's no money out of pocket. And then after paying off the furniture expenses, the utilities, and that rent, we're cash flowing over $1,000 a month, right? So it's like, all right, so you see the rate of return or the cash on cash return, whatever metric you're using,
right?
Phenomenal. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Yo, I like that, man. You do the furniture, so then you don't even include furniture in your startup cost.
Right? No, nope. You don't have to. You don't even have to, right? And so that's the thing about creativity, right? You know, the more you know, the more tools you add on your tool belt, the more problems you can solve. The biggest issue is that how do I keep more money in my pocket? That's it.
Real.
When you kind of play it all together, it's like, okay, I can get real creative with this, right? Subject twos, right? You know, all this other stuff. So yeah, we could definitely talk about subject twos, you know, down the line. We'll get into some more real creative strategies that way.
And the subject to thing, man, is fascinating to me because I hear, you know, I have friends at work and stuff because, you know, I do real estate. I have 4 houses and I got 2 arbitrages right now. You know, I'm not as big time as you are, but but I want to rub elbows with people that are doing big things now, you know, so it helps. And so anyways, people are like, well, man, I could, you know, I'd like to get a rental, blah, blah. I was like, all right, so, you know, how are you going to go ahead and get one? Oh man, I got to save up at least 20%, you know, put 20% down on a $200,000 house. So I got to have like 50,000. I was like, man, you're going to take forever doing this, man. You got to figure out different ways to do it.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, how I did it, I was like, hey, you know, house hacking, hopping from house to house. That's one way to do it. But subject to, man, that's the next level right there. Coming in and just when 0 down or whatever down you agree upon with the seller. And just and yeah, man, you could just start getting more deals that way. I love it.
Yeah. So kind of like touch on that a bit. What I always like to do, I don't care if I'm working with a new agent or a new investor, and we always go through an education phase at first, or basically a screening phase, right? If they're a sophisticated investor, great. It makes it super easy for us. All we have to do is introduce our systems. But if it's somebody just starting out, like you mentioned, where they're talking about, well, I want to get an investment property, I want to do this. A lot of times we got to narrow it down. How many times have you heard somebody say, I want to get 100 rental properties in 10 years? It's like, great, right? That's fine. But what the hell does that 100 represent? Right? If it's financial freedom, well, let's think about it. If you only need $3,000 a month to be financially free, but if you can do that in 10 doors, why the fuck you need, excuse me. Why you need, sorry guys. Why you need see, you got me over here in my feelings right now. I'm emotional, but why you need 100 doors, right? You can do it with 10, right? And so it's kind of like having that conversation for a realization. Then we back it down and say, okay, now we know you only need 10. You don't need 100. Now let's look at your resources. I like to call it a resource triangle just because I like to visually kind of put things together. But it's how much time do you have? How much money do you have? And how much experience do you have? That's it, right? And you put it on each apex of the triangle. And then you got to figure out where the hell is the gap. And then fill the gap. So if you're lacking experience, you need to do something like you need to come on there and listen to like this podcast, right? Fill that gap. Right? If or partnering with a broker that knows what they're doing, right? If it's money, maybe it's private money or Airbnb arbitrage because you don't need money to put down, right? And so by understanding what the end goal is and then understanding where your resources are, it makes it real easy to get real creative. You can kind of just plug in the pieces and then just go from there.
Man, that's some inspiring shit right here, boy. I like the way you said that TME, boy.
Yep.
Woo! So, okay. On your long-term rentals, I'm assuming you're 100% hands off, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And how you running that 100% hands off? How you running it? You just got a property management team on it?
Yep. So I got a couple different things going on. So like I have a syndication company. We focus on limited stay hotels. And so I have a hotel out in Georgia where there's a full operations team in place, right? And it's not really property management. It's a legitimate operations team, right? As far as my single families, I have my long-term property managers. They're running their thing. I just look at the owner statements and they let me know when it's tenant turnover time or major repair time. In Illinois, I have some student rentals. Works a little bit differently, but it's the same concept, right? It's the same concept. Property manager lets me know tenant turnover, repair time. Ultimately, across the entire portfolio, I spend maybe, realistically, maybe about an hour to 2 hours a week kind of managing the portfolio because it's just communication with the property manager. And understanding the biggest thing that all of us, and obviously you guys already had Shelby, my business partner on the podcast. The biggest thing for all of us is creating efficiencies and systems, because think about it. Not any single one of us started investing in real estate for another job. That's not what we started investing for. So I am very comfortable paying handsomely a management fee or whatever in order for me to have the freedom that I started out chasing.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
I love it.
That. Okay. Go ahead, Steve.
No, you good.
I was gonna say, like, so on the subject to deal, I've been passing them up because I don't have a tool belt.
Oh my God, let's get you some tools, baby.
Yeah,
What's
for
up?
real. So
Okay.
give me the game on the subject to. How I run one of those.
All right, so check it out. Subject to is something that people just don't know about. In a subject to, the deed, the ownership of the property is transferred over to the buyer, but the mortgage that's in place stays in the original owner's name. Now, everybody says, well, why the hell would they do that? Like, why would the seller do that? There's a few different scenarios, all right? Let's say, for example, they're just in a financial situation where maybe they don't live in the property anymore, but they got this mortgage payment that they can't really afford. And for some reason, if they sold it, the mortgage on it is so high that they would have to come out of pocket to pay, right? Maybe, maybe they bought a VA loan or a home occupied loan, something like that. And essentially they would have to bring a couple $1,000s to the closing table just to sell it. In that situation, they're in a really weird financial predicament. They don't have the money to close and they can't afford the monthly payment. That is an ideal scenario for a subject to. All right. Now, the biggest thing about subject to is, okay, now we understand the concept. Now, what are the risks involved? If you foreclose on the property is gone. It goes away. It goes to the bank. It doesn't affect your credit, but it does affect the seller's credit. As professional real estate investors, our biggest thing is relationships, right? So we want to make sure that we protect that to the fullest. So we're going to make sure that we're making our timely payments, but we have to make sure that that seller feels comfortable with that whole process, because this is a wonky thing. They're now telling you don't know them, right? You just called them, cold called them, whatever. And they're saying, hey, yeah, you can have my mortgage. You can take it over. What? Right? So you got to build in those, kind of barriers. So one of those things one of the biggest risks is something called a due on sale clause. Okay. Essentially, a loan provider, the mortgager, they say, hey man, anytime you sell this property, if you sell this property, you got to pay me my full mortgage amount. You got to pay me everything. So if you owe $200,000, as soon as you sell it, you got to pay me $200,000. Anytime it transfers ownership, right? That's called due on sale. So you have to find ways to protect against things like that. One way you can do that is putting the property itself, deeding it into a trust, right? Into a trust. And the trust has the name of the original owner or the original mortgage owner, right?
Oh.
But you are the beneficiary, or your LLC is the beneficiary. So you still have ownership, but you kind of masked that transfer, if that makes sense, right?
I like it.
Another couple things. I mean, you can put, obviously you will have to add yourself as additionally insured, right? Because if you transfer the full insurance out of the original owner's name, most of the time insurance is paid through escrow, right? So you can't hide that. You can't mask that. If it's in escrow and in the original owner's name, they have to still be on that policy, right? So that's another factor. So once you start implementing all these different factors in, what you're really doing is you're building up the trust and the confidence in the original seller. And that's when you're able to really start smoothing it over and making these deals. And I will be very transparent. There's nothing there. You should not enter a subject to and do anything illegal. And you should not do anything, bordering on the lines of like illegal or gray or whatever. Be very transparent about everything you're doing and make it so in all of the contracts. And then that way you're keeping up to the good conduct of what business should be ran.
So, okay. So let's say you get this property, you're now on the deed, or your LLC's on the deed.
Yep.
Right? Your LLC's on the deed. How long are you guys eventually looking to refinance that property?
Yeah. So, and that scenario changes obviously depending on the situation. All right. So my first subject to, they were in no rush to sell the home because they weren't looking to buy another home. Right now, I had told them though, they said, hey, in about 2 years, we want to buy a home. So I had a 2-year timeline to sell it. Cause you have to think about it, right? That mortgage is in their name. It's going to be hard to buy another home. It is, right? Or if you have 2 mortgages, 3 mortgages, things like that, it starts to count against you. So I had a 2-year time window. One of my current subject tos, there's no time limit. They don't care. We didn't put a time limit in the contract because they said, I really don't care, man. Just take care of it. We're not buying a home for any time in the foreseeable future. When we do, we'll reach back out to you. But I always recommend, I do not care what your investment strategy is. You must always have an exit strategy. Always. And so in a situation for a subject to, the exit strategy is either sell or refinance. It's one of those 2 options. You need to decide which one it'll be, and you need to have a plan for it just in case.
Now, are you refinancing it to your LLC or your name, or are you just trying to get it in mortgage?
And that's a really good question. So a lot of people like to refinance in their personal name because you have lower down payments typically and lower interest rates. But you have to understand that your ability to borrow money is still going to be limited to your debt to income ratio. Always. The more mortgages you have, the harder it is to get a new one, period. Then I also look at protection. All right. So if you use a homeowner occupied loan and you put like an FHA, put 3.5% down on a property and say it's a fourplex, that's fine. You got a fourplex and you're cash flowing like a beast. If you were sued for that fourplex in your personal name, how much equity or how much is really at risk, right? The mortgage, got it. That's all of it. But 3.5% is what's at risk. That's the equity position. Now, if you had a 50% equity position, that's at risk now. At that point in time, to me, depending on what that dollar amount is specific to the investor, now it's time to put it into an LLC because now it's actually asset protection, right? You're protecting an equity position. So the majority of my properties now are in LLCs because I don't want anybody to attack me and attack all of my, portfolio, right? I have it segmented, but that's also how I separate my LLCs on top of that. I look at the equity position and I just protect a dollar amount in each LLC. And that's how I decide when to start a new one or whatever the case may be.
Now, when you put a property into your LLC, what about the mortgage? Is the mortgage in the LLC as well, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So you could do one of two. So, I've had a VA loan that I've just was able to transfer the deed over to an LLC, but the VA loan's still there, right? But here's the thing with that. Just like we talked about on the subject too, the due on sale, the same situation can happen if you just transfer from your name to your own personal LLC. That is technically a sale. It's a transfer of ownership. So the mortgagee or the mortgager could say, hey, I'm calling it due, man. You just moved it to an LLC. I want all my money right now. They could.
Have you ever heard of that happening?
No.
Okay.
Never. I've never seen a real life example of that happening.
Because the bank just wants to get paid, right?
Yeah, they want that interest money.
Damn right. If you're paying on time, you're going to be just fine. And that's why I try to tell people, like, realistically, the bank is not in the business of owning real estate. They want their money to go to work. They've already lent you the money. If you're making the payments, you're fine. They do not have somebody literally auditing every mortgage loan out there. Like, oh, they transferred ownership. Like, it don't work like that. You know what I mean? So I think the risk of that actually happening is very low, but I do want the audience to be aware of it so they don't just go out there and start subject to and everything and then get slapped up, get slapped inside the head.
Right. I guess they saw the damage that happened the last go around in 2008 when they just started foreclosing left and right, and it just wrecked the whole economy for like 8 years, And so I think that we'll do everything they can to work with the buyers nowadays. And so, but always be safe. Always have an exit strategy, like you said.
Absolutely. And you can always do a loan assumption, right? And we're not even going to get onto that. But worst case scenario, they say, no, you have to acquire it. Well, you can kind of take over the loan in its current position without applying for a new loan, right? That's still the same process as getting a loan. It's called a loan assumption. But there are multiple options if it comes down to that, right? So I don't want for whoever's listening, don't be scared to attempt a subject to. Right. And be prepared to always figure out how. No, never say no. Not in real estate. We don't say no. We always say how. Right. You got to figure out how.
And where did you learn all this stuff?
Oh, man, just grinding. To be honest, I had a bad deployment on one of the trips out. And at that point in time, I made a decision like, hey, man, I can't do this. I can't do this for the next 10 years. I got to do something else. And when I put my mind to something, I get obsessed about it, right? I'm reading, I'm calling, I'm networking, rubbing elbows, doing whatever we got to do. And a lot of the lessons I learned were through trial and error. I've lost a lot of money, right? And I've made a lot of money from the lessons that I've learned, but I'm okay with that. I'm very comfortable figuring out how to do this the hard way, right? Nothing I learned or nothing that I'm doing now is something that I created. Hell no. Everything's been in existence forever, for centuries. I just found the right people, asked the right questions, right? Find some mentorships. A perfect example is for all my subject twos. As I was starting that journey, I researched an attorney who knew what the hell subject two was. Luckily, I found one that is his bread and butter. So every subject to I do, I go through that one attorney. And so essentially, remember we talked about that resource triangle, right? My gap was experience. Well, I filled that gap by finding an attorney who fucking does nothing but that, had all the experience, right? And that's how you really can start to accelerate very rapidly. It's just by partnering with the right people. That's really what it comes down to.
Man, what do you find your subject to deals? Like, are you getting networking? Yeah,
it's networking, man. And so honestly, it's more commonplace in something like a military town. The reason why is because the VA loan is so prominent, right? So think about it. Remember, we talked about the situation. You have no equity. If you sell it, you got to put money out of your pocket. VA loan is 0% down. That's a perfect situation where you have no equity in a property when you buy it brand new. And the military does something called a PCS, a permanent change of station. They force you to move every 3 to 5 years. You ain't building no equity in 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So military towns are extremely prominent for something like a subject to. And it just happenstance, what I always say is, and I forget who said it, I think maybe Jim Rohn said it, right? You're compensated in direct proportion to the size of the problem that you solve, right? So when people come to you and they say, hey, I got a problem. I can't sell my house. I got to come out of pocket. Let's solve this problem. Let's talk about it, right? And then you can find a deal like a subject to where your return is excellent, but it's a win-win all the way across the board. The lender still makes their money. The seller doesn't have to foreclose or have to come out of pocket. You'll get a screaming deal for little no money down, right? And so it's just by solving those problems and being like you were saying earlier, man, it's just like having that tool on that tool belt. You know what I mean? And it just happenstance came. What they say, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. You know what I'm saying? Now prepare. The opportunity presents itself. Boom, went for it.
Okay. So let's say I got a deal at an auction, right? And they keep pushing this deal back on this auction. And like they give you the information like, hey, this law firm's over this auction property. Is that a good subject to deal?
No.
No?
Because it's already an auction.
Okay.
That means it's already went through its whole foreclosure process or whatever. So now you're dealing directly with the bank. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, got you. Okay.
Whereas a foreclosure situation, you want to deal directly with the seller.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. That wouldn't be a good situation for that one.
And how much does the lawyer usually charge for this process?
So that process there on average, and this is everything now. Closing costs, the documents for it, the contract, all that good stuff. It's roughly about $1,500 to maybe about $2,000. So it's not bad. It's not bad.
That's a good deal. You walk away.
For the price of a hoopty, you get in a house.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, I'm gonna share with y'all my best subject to deal yet.
Okay.
All right. This is where you get super creative, right? You start adding all the tools. I was pulling out hammers and band saws. All right, so check it out. I did a subject to on a duplex. All right. I got it for about $116,000. That was what was on the loan, about $116,000. I paid all the closing costs, which was about $2,000, and I paid another $2,000 to the seller for moving costs and things like that. So all in, I'm in at $120,000. The property appraised immediately for $134,000. I already walked into some equity. Okay. I lived in. Now what I did was I subject to it, so no money on my pocket. I house hacked it. I moved in on one side. Put another $5,000 into the renovations on the other side. And then I furnished the furniture and did Airbnb on the other side. All right. So now I'm doing a subject to house hack Airbnb. And I was able to generate enough income to pay the property manager, utilities and internet for both sides, make the furniture payment, all that, and the mortgage on it, and still net cash flow about $1,200 to $1,300 a month. On that one deal. And I'm living on the other side.
Living for free.
Living on the other side. Oh! That right there just goes to show you the power of, being creative and open-minded, right? That was literally 3 different strategies combined to make an amazing deal. Now, that was literally the last place. I'm now in Charlotte. That place is still in Fayetteville. I'm now Airbnb out the other side. Right. I haven't got a tenant yet, but I got 2 Airbnbs. I mean, hey, let's see what happens. Right. We'll see down the road. But yeah, man, it's just the power of creativity. Problem solved.
I love it. And so what makes you, when it comes to the choosing between doing a flip or holding it or buying a hold, what's the process in that? What makes you choose one or the other?
Absolutely. So I have different. So first and foremost, every investor must have their metrics, their performance metrics down to a T. Down to a T, because otherwise we get this all the time. An investor might come up and say, hey, find me a good investment. Come on, man. What does that mean? Good investment? Like, come on, man. What is that? Right? Give me something I can use, right? Cash on cash return, IRR, whatever. Just give me something. When I look at every deal, I essentially say, okay, I start with the end in mind. What do I want this deal to do for me? All right. And then I basically say, like, what can I best buy it at? Like, what is the most, accurate representation of it? And I always do a backwards planning approach. I always start at the end. So I go with the ARV, right? After repair value of a property. I figure out what that is first and foremost. The general like rule of thumb for the max allowable offer is 70% of the ARV minus repairs gives you your absolute max that you can offer. And that's a good general rule of thumb, but I look at it holistically. If it's something like a flip and it's a $200,000 property, percentages can be skewed greatly because I can still make a profit of $20,000, right? But a $200,000 property, it makes it only look like 10%. So if you're doing a 70% rule, you're just cutting yourself out of the deal, right? So I have a metric literally for every single one of my investment strategies. So for a flip, my metric is I must make at least $20,000 in profit, right? It's not a percentage. If it's a buy and hold rental, then I want to make sure that I'm leaving very little money in, but I use cash on cash return as my metric, right? And so I use that. And so you just have to be able to evaluate every property in many different ways and figure out where it fits, because it would really suck if you only had one strategy and it didn't fit and you just threw it away, but you could have made $20,000, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to know your metrics is what it boils down to.
Man, some good knowledge today. How about when you're doing a flip or when you're doing renovations at all, how does that work? I mean, how are you good at dealing with contractors, or do you do a lot of the stuff yourself, or how does it work?
I deal with contractors, man. Yeah, I deal with contractors. I'm not gonna lie to you. Man. So I did live-in flips before where I did the work. And that's when I learned that I'm not going to do that again. Like I'm just going to get the contractors, right? And then you got to vet the contractors, because not all contractors are created equal. It's very difficult to find a good one and so forth and so on. But when you find a good one, it is worth it. It is worth it. So now within our markets, we have contractors that we've done obviously for our own personal stuff, but we've opened them up to our clients, and they're just excellent, right? When you're looking at contractors, one of the biggest things is transparency and communication. I'll just kind of ball that all up into really one. I've seen situations where you say, hey, I got $10,000 to use on this project, but this is what I want, right? And the contractor will do what fits $10,000 budget, but not what you want, right? That's not good. That's not good, because now you just lost control of the situation. Mm-hmm. There's other times where you can basically, like how we have it now, is we basically have a package. Right. So when we say, hey, man, I want you to go look at this property right here. It's the same thing for every single property we do. It's the same countertops. It's the same paint. It's the same flooring. It's a package. So now when you go in, you can't BS me and tell me, yo, this is going to be $10 a square foot. No, it's not. It's $4, man. We did it last week. You know what I'm saying? like it's boom. It's right in there. But with that package also, it allows you as the investor, your cost now. You know your cost, the labor, and the cost of material, because it's the same thing every single time. And now you can look at a deal and be like, boom, that's immediately $15 a square foot for this property, 1,500 square feet, boom, that's my repair value.
I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
And do you put them on a payment schedule to keep them motivated?
So it depends. I mean, right now, honestly, we put enough money for them to buy the materials, and then we pay the rest at the end. That's just the agreement that we have with our contract. It's not going to be like that. Some contractors are very strict. They say, hey, man, we need draw schedules and things like that. Matter of fact, on the 9-unit Airbnb that we're doing, it's a renovation. So it's going to be a BRRRR, right? A cash out refi on the back end, a BRRRB, right? We're going to turn it into the back end. But in that situation, because it's such a large project, we have to do draw schedules, right? So it is going to be dependent on your contractors, but it's extremely important for you to understand how that money is used, how the contractors work. And then that way you can, because everything's negotiable. Everything's negotiable. Don't let a contractor come to you and be like, this is it, and this is how it's going to be.
You know how Shelby was on Bigger Pockets, she's a superstar now, right?
Oh yeah, she's a superstar. She's a killer.
Well, they what's it call it? They said that she came up with the BRRRR, but I have a hunch that she might have got it from you.
No, she got it. We both got it from Dan Kidd, bro. So there's another guy named Daniel Kidd. This dude, he's a killer. All right, killer by the way. This dude. See, I'm about to cuss again. Sorry. This dude went around and his first year ever in real estate. He got licensed immediately. First year ever, closed 57 transactions as a broker and purchased 48 rental units. Killer. He's one of those like beautiful mind people. You know what I'm saying? Like he just has like algorithms and stuff just floating around in front of his face all the time. But he's that creative genius that came up with BRRRB, Turn B&B, Turn BRRRR, all those stuff. That was all him, man. So we stole that from him. But
I love it.
Yeah, he's good people.
Oh.
We'll get him on the show next.
Oh yeah. He's good people.
Is he also ex-military?
Yeah, sure is.
Man, it's that military mindset, right?
Man.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, the military. So I wrote a book right here, The Elite Investor. always got it up right there. The Elite Investor, a military approach to real estate problem solving, right?
Ooh.
But my thing is always, because I love educating veterans, we get taught so much in the military how to run a damn business. But it's not told to you that way. But when you really look at it, the systems, the way everything is operated, the counseling sessions, the probationary periods, the training, the boot camps, that is literally how you run a business. And if you could just learn how to interpret that over into something else, I mean, God, it's so powerful. It's so powerful.
And that's your book, The Elite Investor?
Yep, The Elite Investor.
I just added that to my list, man. I'm getting that.
Where can we find that book at?
Yeah, Amazon. You can find it on Amazon. You know, I'm a simple guy. Go to Amazon.
That's what's up, man. So you're doing BRRRR deals, you're doing subject twos. You got it all on your tool belt. So I'm going to ask you some advice. I'm going to tell you one thing I'm going through right now.
Okay.
So I feel like I bit off more than I can chew. I'm going to see if you can help me, right?
Okay.
So I got a refinance going.
Okay.
It's just started up. Then I have a renovation that I need to do here at my personal house, but that can hold off on that. But I got a renovation I have to do at my condo. But I can't move money around because, they start looking funny.
Yes.
So what would be your idea of being creative in that situation?
So first and foremost, the refi is going to take priority because if it's already in the process, as soon as you start moving money around, it'll mess that thing up. So get the refi done. That's priority number one, period.
Gotcha.
Now, as far as supplementing income, I would say private money loan, man. Seriously. Yeah. I don't know what your network looks like, but if you could borrow money at, 6% or 7% interest only payments to do a quick reno, that might be a great way to do it. Now, let me ask you this. You're going to reno a condo, but is it, what's the end strategy? Are you just going to refinance it? Or are you just going to rent it?
I'm a 1031 it.
Oh, okay. So you're going to reno 1031 into something else.
Yeah.
That's short-term private money all day, baby. That's short-term private money all day. Interest only payments. Come, find somebody and be like, hey man, I'll give you 8% interest only payments for 6 months, 7 months. Boom.
Oh, I like the way you do business, man.
Yeah. Go for it. Somebody, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people out there that would love to give you money for 8%. I guarantee it. Get it done. Boom, short, quick, 1031 it, buy you something nicer, pay them off. Everybody's happy. Win, win, win.
I like that. All right. I think that's probably what I'm going to do, man.
Yes, sir.
See, everything happens for a reason. That's why we had you on this podcast tonight.
That's what I'm talking
about. What are some, I've noticed, I was listening to what's it called? Tony Robbins today, you know, and what I noticed a lot about him or other people that are kind of motivational, kind of telling you, successful people.
Right.
And they say it's not it's the little things you do every day that add up to the big picture, Yeah. So what are some of the little things that you started doing and you kept doing and that led to your success?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the number one book that literally changed my entire life around was The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And it's literally about that same concept. It is quite literally about the little stuff you do every single day that compounds into what you become. And I took that to heart, and I just went running with it. And ever since then, it's just been a non-constant or a nonstop journey. It's like non-constant. It's been constant, right? A journey to the top. But another great book that helped me figure out what to implement was The Miracle Morning Millionaire, right? By Hal Elrod. And essentially in that book, he calls it the savers. It's 6 items that you do every single day: silence, affirmation, vision, exercise, reading, and scribing, which is just writing or journaling. But basically what he did was he's figured out what the most productive top 1% of the world they do. And he found that those were the most common things, but nobody ever did all of them in one day. And so he created the book, Miracle Morning Millionaires, right? The habits of the savers, all 6 of them all in one day. And I will honestly say that when I started doing that, my focus and my clarity really got razor sharp. And that's when I was able to accelerate. I mean, at one point I had maybe 7 rentals, and within 1 year, I was over 40 just because of the clarity, right? And that's the power of being able to just reflect, self-reflection, visualize what you're doing, stay dedicated, stay extra, doing the exercise, doing the things that you need to do in order to function. And it doesn't matter if you don't want to. It really doesn't. Because if you read the book, he literally says you can do each one of those things for 1 minute and it will still have the effects. So if you think about it, that's 6 minutes a day. Why wouldn't you do it? Why would you not do it, right? And in order to have those results that you want. But ultimately, I think it boils down to priorities, right? So a lot of people say they want to do something, but they don't necessarily do it. They don't get off the couch. They don't go to the gym. They don't invest. They don't buy the house. So it really comes down to priorities. And there's no right or wrong answer. But when something is really important to you and you really prioritize it, there is nothing that's going to stop you from doing it, period. That's ultimately what it boiled down to me. I just got obsessed with it. Just went for it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. On that note, man, it kind of slipped my head a little. Okay. So you're okay. So your military career, you're a veteran now. So was there a point where you're saying it's kind of getting in the way of your investing, or were you humming along, kicking butt? And you said you were doing military full time, or did you say, man, if I got out, I would just, explode?
So it was a mix. So I did think that, once I got out, I'd be able to focus full time and it'd be great, which it is. But a lot of it really was just the stress of the military for me. I mean, I think I mentioned I had a bad deployment, lost a couple good buddies. I was like, there's no way I could do another 10 years, like to stay sane. You know what I mean? I just couldn't do it. And more power to every serviceman and women out there that do 20 and more. God bless you all. I just couldn't do it. So I had to find something else. And so I started searching, and I've tried everything. I did all the MLMs. I did the Amways. I did the Herbalifes. I was selling Pokemon cards. I almost got into prostitution. No, I'm playing, man. But I tried everything, man. But real estate just kind of came like naturally to me, and I enjoy it, right? And ultimately, the way that I live my life now, and Shelby's the same way. The way that we live our life now is like, I'm not going to go back to something I don't enjoy doing. Nah, man, life is way too short. We've all lost loved ones. We all lost friends. I'm not going to go back to something that I don't enjoy. I'm going to make sure I enjoy it. I'm going to make the best of it, right? So my biggest thing that I always preach now is we design lifestyles, right? It's not investing for, a retirement account. It's not invest for, no. We design lifestyles. We invest for the lifestyle that we deserve. Right? If I want to go to Bora Bora 12 times a year, I deserve it. How do I design it? How many houses do I need? You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of my mindset now.
Man, yeah, you from H-Town for real, man. You got that H-Town hustle all up in you, man. I can see it. For real. Damn. I love that, man. You inspiring the hell out of me, man.
I like that. Y'all got me over here hot and everything.
It's the wine, man. It's the wine.
Yeah, it's the wine.
So how are some ways that you reward yourself when you hit goals?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. So me personally, I always like to pursue something new. That's just my thing, right? So some people say it's like, oh, you overwork. It's like, I find enjoyment out of that. So one way that I reward myself is I literally signed up for a Spanish class at like community college, right? Yeah. To me, that was a reward. I felt like I'm a very frugal person, to be honest. And I feel like the things that I really want are really expensive. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, well, let me earn some of these things that's going to cost me money. So where some people say like, hey, you know, I got a new job, I'm gonna go buy a new truck. I'm like, no, I need to earn that. I have to hit a certain performance metric before I can do that type of thing. That's how I pretty much reward myself. Is
nice.
The things I want. Yeah.
On the Spanish front,
yeah,
you know, it's there's this program they got in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Yeah.
And it's called EMAC, the school, or IMAC, like IMAC.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a Spanish immersion program. And back, you know, I did it, you know, I didn't grow up speaking Spanish. My parents didn't speak it to me, but I started learning on my own and stuff. And I just really wanted to, you know, top it off.
Yep.
So I went over there. I did a whole month there. And they even put you with a family, room and board, all your meals paid for, like 4 or 5 hours of school a day. And it's like, man, it came out to like $900 for the whole month. So if you want to do something like that, you know, get away to Mexico for a month, it's a really cool experience, man.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I literally was looking into immersion courses like that, and I've seen some in like Honduras and Peru and things like that. But I mean, I'll definitely look into that one. Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, Mexico's right down the way. Yeah,
exactly. It's right there.
It's a cool experience, man.
You have to be immersed into it. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, people of all ages there, man. You might end up falling in love with a chick. Oh wait, I don't know if you're married or not.
No, I'm not. I'm still single, man.
Oh, there you go.
I might find me a little mamacita.
That's what happened to me, man. So I brought mine back. So there's some beautiful women down there. I'm just saying.
All right, I have a question for you because you told us about your best deal. What was one of the worst deals you got into, and how did you get out of it?
Oh, say less. All right. So one of the worst deals ever, man. When I first was getting into it, it was a wholesale deal. I didn't know what I didn't know, right? So I got in, I found this deal. I ran the numbers wrong. And I told this lady, I was like, yo, I can offer you like $68,000 for the house, right? Then it was occupied by her brother who was unemployed and everything else. I was like, man, look, I can't sell it if it's occupied. He needs to leave. So she kicked him out, right? Then I was still in the military. I ended up deploying and I was like, oh, I got to do something with it. So I gave it to another wholesaler who I thought was going to finish it off. Long story short, the brother was homeless for about 2 months. The wholesaler didn't close the deal, didn't even follow up with the buyer. So she ended up foreclosing on the property. I left I put $1,000 down for the wholesale contract instead of like $100 or $1 like most wholesalers do now. So I lost $1,000. And I came back and my relationship was ruined, not only with the seller and the brother, but with the property manager who made the introduction. Complete loss of rapport. It wasn't about like $1,000 was $1,000. But I mean, I just completely tarnished my name with the entire company and I made somebody homeless. Like that was the worst deal ever. Like I learned a lot from it, but damn, that was a bad experience. Yeah.
I guess, you know, it's funny because the whole money thing, like you said, it's $1,000, but what really hits home is like, wow, how you felt bad, you know, about that, you know, that guy being homeless, of course, and about your relationship. It really shows what your goals are and what you align with, because you care more about relationships and helping people than money. And that, you know, actually gets you more money in a way, you know what I'm saying?
It does. Because I'm going to be honest with you. For people who care about money, are they worry about money, or people who don't have money? Let's be honest, right? Because if money was like, think about it. When you're breathing right now, are you thinking about oxygen?
No, you got it.
Oh, right. When you have money like that, where it's like oxygen, you don't care, right? I am a firm believer that money is not going to change you. You're going to be whoever the hell you are with or without money. So if you can start thinking and visualizing what it's like to be somebody who is truly wealthy and the person that you want to be, right? A philanthropist, right? Somebody who gives and all this other stuff. Why are you waiting to do that until you got money? Why aren't you doing that now? Become that person. And when you become that person, law of attraction, whatever you want to call it, things kind of flow your way. It kind of works out in your favor. It's really weird, but it happens. You know what I mean? So I'm a big, firm believer in that. Everything we do, even with our realty team, we come from a position of value. We want to provide as much value for free as possible, because when people care, or people know that you care, right? At that point in time, they're like, you know what? I'm willing to pay for that service. I'm willing to compensate you for that service because that's what I want.
You're genuine.
Exactly.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Going back to the management real quick. I know we're jumping around all over, but how do you have any tips on managing your managers?
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. So I always tell people, because that's the first question that comes out the gate, right? Oh, I want to self-manage so I can learn the process, and then I want to hand it off to a manager. And that's fine. But like I said, I say it over and over again. I always start with the end in mind. If you want to be the manager, then you need to learn how to manage the property. If you don't, then you need to learn how to manage the managers. Would you rather have 2 more additional years learning how to manage the managers or how to manage the damn property that you're not going to want to do, right? So I always say, start with the end in mind. If you want to not manage the damn property, hire a property manager ASAP. That 10% that you're paying is not going to make you rich in the next 12 months. Pay them. Now you have one less thing that's on your plate, and you can focus on acquisition, on growing the portfolio. It just makes sense that way. Now, when you're managing the manager, ultimately it comes down to what information do you need to know? What information is important to you? So for me, I don't give a damn who signed the lease. I don't care. I don't know that person. I don't need to know the person. I need to know what are the biggest expenses when they come up. I need to know when tenant turnover is coming up, so we can focus on like lease management, right? So let's say, for example, you got 100 doors, and all of a sudden 40 of them, they all expire on November the 3rd of 2020. It's like, oh crap, that ain't right, right? I want them to expire at different times throughout the year, right? That's like lease management. I want to know that, and I want to know big expenses. Now that I know that, all I need to do is make sure that my property manager can execute that. You're good to go, right? I got my owner portals. I can pull my own statements if I need to. I got my bookkeeper involved. Great. Boom. I can check my management leases. Great. Boom. I got all the information I need. Now, if we have to have a deeper conversation, we can do that. But at that point in time, you've met all the criteria you need for a property manager.
Nice.
Yeah, keep it simple.
I guess 'cause I've been telling Myka that I've been struggling with it a little, because these are my first 2 arbitrages,
Yep.
and I just got these up and going recently. And so, and I'm like, man, dude, because I've always managed my own Airbnbs. Right. And I'm like, dude, I don't see any results right now. I don't see any bookings coming up, and man, are they doing it right? Are they checking this? Are they pricing it right? And he's like, well, are you making the rent? And I was like, well, I made the rent the first month. And he goes, you're making a profit. I made a little profit. Yeah. But he goes, I said, but I'm worried about the next month coming up. He goes, well, measure that at the end of the month. If you didn't make the rent, if you didn't make a profit that you wanted, then you start talking to him. And I was like, I just want to, be hands-on and tinker. But like, I guess that you kind of give him freedom, but with kind of a little bit of limitations. I don't know. It's like a balance, right?
I'm going to kind of give my game on that. Like when I told Steve that. Reason why I tell people that is when you put yourself in the way of letting someone, if you don't want someone to make a mistake, you stop their growth and you stop yours. But mistakes are the only way people learn. So that's what I was telling Steve, let them make a mistake. If they make the mistake, then you can talk to them. But if you stop them from making that mistake, they'll never learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a really good point, because you're right. You got to learn. I actually really like that mindset on that one as well. The biggest thing I look at is when you build out something that can grow, as you scale, it continues to grow. Think about it. That's a system that's put in place. Think about McDonald's, KFC, doesn't matter, right? When they go do their burgers, is you go bread, patty, cheese, boom. You know what I'm saying? They can hire anybody to do it because it's a system. Oh. If a client came in and said, hey, no, man, I don't want beef, I want salmon, and throws off the whole system, are they going to be able to accommodate? No, because they just customize the service for that one individual. Mm. So now you sitting as the tenant, if you're trying to customize this whole service of a property management company, which that's their business, they built a system, you're the problem. Yeah. If you want to be hands-on like that, create your own damn property management company. Yeah. And you can develop the system, right? That's the way I look at it. And everything starts with expectations, right? So if you expect them to do all this, but you didn't ask the questions up front, now you just hurt yourself, right? Because you expected this and you got this, now you're mad. Everybody only gets mad because they expect more and they receive less. If you really think about it, right? That's really the only time you ever get mad. It can be in a relationship or whatever. You expect something, but you get less. So in a situation like this, I would always recommend that you go in and you ask all the questions you need up front from the property manager, so there's no surprises. Then you won't be mad. You know what I mean? You get
so
exactly
like interview them.
If they don't give you what they said, then it's like, all right, no, now I'm mad. You told me. You told me, man.
There you go. That's what I'm saying, man. Let them make the mistake. Now you got to holler at them.
Yep.
Right. So you interview them. You give them an interview.
Absolutely. I interview everybody. Absolutely. I interview everybody, and I'll be willing to even like test them out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll give them a property or two or whatever. Let them test it. I'll never hand over the entire portfolio at once. I'll never do that. I'll let them test, market, sample. And if they're good, I'll give them a little more, give them a little more, give them a little more. And like now, my long-term rental company, they got all my properties in Fayetteville. Obviously, I got them in different states now, but in Fayetteville, North Carolina, one company got them all.
What states do you invest in?
Georgia, Illinois, and North Carolina right now.
Okay.
I'm open to more. Texas, I'm open for it. I just don't have a team built out there. That's the biggest thing is I got to have the team.
And it's funny because I'm 1031. I'm doing a 1031 on that condo is because I can get out of Texas because of the high-ass taxes. But, you can still make money here. All right?
Absolutely.
Big on Texas.
You can make money in any market. And, again, it just boils down to what you know how to manipulate the tools. But you can make money anywhere. And that's one thing I love about real estate. Think about it. There are certain people that invest in real estate that want the non-cash flowing property to hedge against their high taxable income. Damn, that's what we look at, and that's not a deal. It's a deal to somebody. Somebody. That's what I love about real estate, man. It's like you can make anything happen.
Now, can you give me an example of like, let's say you see something going down, and your manager, I don't know, they might not be handling it right away, and you'd be like, man, I could just jump in on this, but you prevented yourself from jumping in and handling it because no, I'm paying them to do it. I'm gonna trust them to do it. Can you give me an example of that? Has that ever come up before?
Oh yeah, there's times where you can always offer suggestions or input as well, because I do as well. So like for example, there was one. It was a tenant turnover situation. They had left. They just left. Like the lease was still in place. They just left. All their payments was basically not going through and everything else. And then I was like, we can chase them down and we can do this or we can do that, option A, option B. And my solution was like, why don't we do a hybrid? Like, why don't we just go ahead and start the tenant turnover? I understand that the lease is still in place, but why don't we initiate this and initiate that and go for this, right? And it was just more of like a conversation. There's times where you can kind of do some of that creative problem solving because think about it. Not everybody knows everything. You might have a good solution that they may adopt into their business model, right? So I am big on communication. Always, if you got a problem with something, address it, but don't expect that company to completely morph their entire model and systems just off of your complaint, right? They may just tell you, okay, I understand this, but this is why we do X, Y, and Z. And then you should be, I'm not saying that you have to be content with that, but now at least you understand it, right? Because you communicated about it.
Right. And I guess it takes me back to like the biggest example that I can see is you're a Cowboys fan, right?
Yeah.
They're struggling right now.
Yeah.
And,
they are.
And what's been the problem over these past 20 years, the biggest problem about why the Cowboys haven't been, winning Super Bowls?
Jerry Jones.
Yeah. Deion Sanders left.
Well, that's what everybody would say. It was Jerry Jones, and he's the owner of the team, and he can't. The only time he's been super successful is when he's got someone in there that won't let him meddle. You know what I'm saying? That has the balls to stand up to him, like Parcells or Jimmy Johnson. And he's been uber successful with those guys. But then when he puts his puppets in place where he can do this and that, and he can talk to the players directly, that's when it gets all messed up.
Yep. That's a really good example. That's a really good example because you're not for the same scenario, you're not a property manager. So how the hell are you going to tell a property manager how to do their job better? You see what I'm saying? That's a really good example. Yeah. If you start trying to meddle in those places, you're going to get lackluster performance. I like that.
You end up 2-6 right now in the
exactly.
NFL
Okay.
season.
All right. Enough of that.
Yeah, we're Cowboys fans too. I know Michael's threatening to jump ship, but I don't think he will.
Threatening to jump ship. But yeah, that's some good combo, man. Because I'm real big on, you know what I'm saying, let people make mistakes, learn, and then you can focus on growing. You know, and I'm proud of Steve, man, because Steve went ahead after they got that first release. Shit, he went and got another one. I was like, yeah, go get another one after that. You know what I'm saying?
And another one. Yep, go for it.
Another one. Financial freedom.
Yes.
Have you attained it yet?
Yes.
You have. Okay.
Yes.
And we'll go back to exit strategies too. So you're doing this, I assume you love real estate, but do you have an ultimate exit strategy for hopping out of this, or you foresee yourself doing this forever?
So I'm not going to sell real estate as a broker forever. I'll work with a few clients, but I really do enjoy educating newer agents on the same process, mentoring them and basically got in through the transaction. So I can see myself consistently doing that. Me personally, I will continue to always invest in real estate. That's where I'm at, whether it's flips, syndications, luxury resorts, I don't care. It's going to be in real estate, right? Until I have so much excess income that I can then put into stocks or whatever else that makes sense. I'm going to stay focused in real estate. My ultimate exit strategy is non-existent. I'm not going to lie. I've had multiple midlife, quarter life crisis, whatever you want to call it, right? Where I'm just like, why am I even doing all of this, right? And I still haven't even determined that. But I do know that when I'm able to educate, especially a veteran, but anybody, on like, hey, man, let's just use this, this, and this, and it drastically changes the trajectory of their life, I feel the ultimate satisfaction at that point in time, right? Mm-hmm. And so I do know that I'm going to be aligned in that manner somewhere in the future. Don't really know what it looks like. So maybe writing some more books, or doing the whole, I have a podcast, Military Cash Flow, where it's targeted to veterans on how to create more passive income, things like that. So, we'll see how it all kind of turns out.
Can you repeat that, Military Cash Flow?
Yep. Military Cash Flow.
That's what's up, man. Yeah. I'm like, I get like, I be telling people I'm happy. Like when people like you, Shelby, Adam, Alvin, y'all come on the show and y'all been in the military and y'all can help the veterans who probably don't know where to go when they get out. That's what's up. Because my dad served I think 20 some years, and he really did a good job with what he did when he got out. So that's what's up, man.
Yeah. So like, what's the biggest mistakes with youngsters entering the military, like money wise?
Good question.
Oh, that is a really good question. So the first one is buying the damn 2020 Corvette at 7% interest outside the gate. I'm like, what the hell are you thinking? That is I'm telling you, like, we joke about it, but that is a serious thing. Like, they do that. And they don't know any better because they don't know financing. So they like, yeah, I can get it for 7% interest on a car loan, bro. Oh, my God. So that's one of them. All right. Two is the simple fact that, most of them are 17, 18, 19. They get their first little checks. They go out. And I have a lot of tattoos. I made mistakes, right? No, I'm proud of my tattoos, but I've spent a lot of money on them. That's what they do in the military. They get these first checks and they go straight out. I'm going to tell you, it got so bad that literally one of the tattoo shops started financing tattoos.
Oh,
come on. Financing tattoos. No, I'm paying. Come on. Interest. Like, so seriously, mistakes. They just don't understand money, right? So financial literacy is a huge issue across America in general. It is extremely lacking in the military as well. There are so many benefits that the military offers, to include their retirement account, which is their version of a 401k. It's called a thrift savings plan. Very, very low management fees, actually probably the best in the entire nation. And they actually match up to 5%, which is good, right? And the fact is, as you're aware, if I put in 5% and they match 5%, when I say 5%, it's of the base pay, right? So just if I put in $100 and they match $100, I've just made 100% return on my investment. You can't get that anywhere else. And the simple fact that, newer, younger kids are joining the military and they don't even just conceptualize the benefits that they have to take advantage of it. It's one of the, the biggest like downfalls. And so we always are just trying to educate them, like, go to the financial office and just ask them what's available. Like, just ask, just start taking advantage of those things.
Right. Or maybe check out your podcast.
Yeah, check out the podcast. We got all kinds of episodes. Yeah, if you're in the military.
I'm still wondering how does someone repo a tattoo? That'd be interesting.
Bro, yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was like, oh, you didn't send out debt collections. Like, we didn't cut the arm off? Like, yeah. It's ridiculous, man.
Man, that's cool that you're out there helping out these kids, man. Because yeah, I've heard some stories too. The first thing they want to do is buy the baddest ass car out there,
Yep.
and man, it's crazy. And they have such like you said, a lot of opportunities, and they could even, like I said, they could buy a house in everywhere they're deployed. They can buy a house in every city that they're going to, man. And you with those VA loans, they could buy up to a fourplex. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, man, that's
correct. So imagine
0% down.
I always, every time I sit down with a young soldier, I say, hey, man, how would you like to have 12 rentals in 3 years? And they're like, what? I'm like, nope, I'm serious. You get a fourplex first year with the VA. You have to wait 12 months before you can use the VA again. Another fourplex, because there's a limit to how much you can leverage. But you can literally, in theory, walk away with 12 rental units in 3 years, zero money down. Believe me, all their eyes, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but you just have to know what to look for, right? Knowing the questions to ask. But absolutely, it's definitely possible.
That's beautiful, man.
Dang.
This has been like an amazing episode. We appreciate you hopping on. Mike G in the house. And yeah, man, it is. Where can people find you, first of all?
Yeah. I mean, you can find me on anything. Obviously, 5pillarsrealty.com. You can go to my Instagram, michael.s.glaspie. You can find me on Facebook, Mike G2, I think, something like that. Militarycashflow.com. And then I'm working on my own little personal website if you just want to see what the hell I'm doing there. So, yeah, you can find me anywhere.
Sweet. Any advice for people out there that want to, hop into it, want to do it? Yeah,
absolutely. So the biggest thing is, Again, start with the end in mind. What is the entire reason you're investing? Some people call it their why, right? Or whatever, that's fine. But once you can truly visualize what you want your life to look like, then you'll understand what strategy is going to be best for you. Then at that point, once you know the strategy, then you can identify the criteria. So if we say 1,000 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2, right? It's like a literal science almost. Then at that point, you have no reason not to take action. Because it's all laid out, specifically customized for you. Now, if you're not taking action, it's just not high enough on your priority. You really just don't care that much. So that'll be my.
I like that. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Well, thank you, Mike G, for hopping on, and we look forward to having you again in the future, man. This is awesome.
Absolutely, man. I greatly appreciate it, guys. It's been fun.
Yeah, you inspired the hell out of me. I got some homework to do.
I like it. Get to studying.
Straight up.
All right, man. Well, take care, and we'll see you soon.
All right, we'll do.
All right. That was Mike G coming with the game, man. He inspired the hell out of me. So I'm definitely about to go look into some private money tomorrow.
Man, every guest we learn something new, man. It's insane. We're on a roll.
That's a fact, man. That's why I love this podcast, man. You meet so many cool people, man, inspiring people. So that definitely helped me. It's like it was for a reason. Without he was on, man, that definitely helped me.
And it's funny that I was, it's kind of cheesy, whatever. I don't know. I was like, man, I need something to. I was feeling a little bit low. I need something to pump me up today. So I looked on YouTube and I found Tony Robbins. What's it called? What's the famous one? The Awake, the something within, Unleash the Power Within. And they had the whole thing on there, an hour long, whatever.
You were down to your living room?
I was in my car in my truck on my way to work. Man. I was like, yeah, that's what's up. But I mean, it's oh man, some of it's like it seems like common sense stuff, but it's freaking true. Like for example, you're gonna be the sum of who you hang out with, who you're around, And he goes, if you're just hanging out with your old college friends that just want to drink and do nothing, and then you get an aspiration, hey, I want to do this. Oh man, that's too much. They try to bring you back down to their level, right? Whereas you get into a group like with us, with our friends and our real estate contacts, it's like, man, no, you can go higher than that, man. What do you just want a duplex? Get a quad, get an apartment. It's people. We try to push each other up to do more, and then it's just infectious. If on the contrary, you lie with fleas, you lie with dogs, you get fleas. You know what I'm saying?
Fastest way to kill a dream is tell it to a small-minded person. You got to know who you're around. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
That's the fastest way to kill a dream, man.
This Mike G ep is a lot like it got me like hyped, just like the Adam James episode, man. It's just like, wow, man, just damn.
Man, I really got to say, man, we done had some damn good guests on this show, bro. Like, we've got Adam Johnson, Adam James, Mike Glaspie, Shelby. We done had some like, I'm telling you, if y'all have not watched all of our podcasts, we've had some heavy hitters on this podcast. Like, maybe I don't know if y'all haven't watched it, but we've had like some real live heavy hitters, deep thinkers, philosophers, and Steve's going to always come with the philosophical questions every week. So yeah, man, that was we really have, man. And I'm happy you so how did you ease up off the property management company?
Kind of, sort of. Kind of, sort of. Well, the thing is, what happened, the renters that had it tied up for the whole year, right?
Yeah.
Well, she's jumping ship because she has to get surgery and she can't go up and downstairs anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we even kind of like, hey, well, you could just transfer your lease to the bottom unit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I guess she wasn't going for that for some reason or whatever. Anyways, I don't know how. See, here's the thing. I don't know how they set up the lease. It's like a 12-month lease. They got to pay that shit, right? Or she said something is like set up month to month. So I was already shit counting my chickens before his hatch. She was supposed to pay on the first of the month, but she's like, she just bounced instead. You know what I'm saying? Pay for this. You know how you pay the first of the month for the next month coming up?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm getting at. I'm trying to communicate with them. And like I said, they're not the best on communication. But I was like, she's saying something like, well, she in the lease, she agreed to pay like a kind of a reletting fee if she bounced, which if she's leaving already, why would she be motivated to pay it? Anyways, I don't know what's going on with it. They're working on it. They said, we're working on getting you another long-term stay or this and that. I just want to be in the loop of that because I didn't see my money on the first, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, because like I said, she was supposed to pay on the first and she left instead on the first.
They didn't collect a security deposit.
They won't answer my questions, man. She's working on it. So I know I'm saying that's you would collect a security, like what, $1,500 deposit.
Okay. So now it's the first of the month and you didn't collect no paper.
No paper.
Now it's time to now it's time you got to get that call in like, hey player, we got to run some numbers and we got to talk. You know what I mean? See, now you at that point. At first I was like, man, kind of ease up, but now you at that point. So for example, this past weekend I just hired 2 managers, Federico being one of them, and he's doing a hell of a job. I gave him the keys to the Porsche. Like, look, if this dude ain't getting it done, get rid of him. If she ain't getting it done, get rid of him too. You know what I'm saying? You take over the hours. You can hire VAs. I don't give a damn. He's on it. Like, he knows. You know what I mean? And then I handed over the other reins in my Arkansas operation fully over to my mom, and she's handling that. And so what I'm going to do is monthly we'll just have a meeting. Once a month, let me know how everything's going. If you need my help, holla at me. Because what I'm trying to do is just like Mike Glaspie said, man, I'm trying to get into where I'm just acquiring deals because I got these renovations going on, you know what I mean? And I was kind of like, I was like at a crossroads. I felt like I had bit off more than I could chew. And I'm like, man, damn, how am I going to do this? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can't move money right now. They already said, Mike, don't move no money. We already got your refinance locked in. So appraiser goes out tomorrow. But the guy just gave me a quote on my condo, which I'm like, man, I like the quote, and I don't really want to hold off. But, I was like, man, and then Mike really inspired me. He said, we don't say we can't. We look at how. I'm like, that's what I got to get to. And that's why I asked him that question, and he gave me the perfect answer. So we got to get real creative out here, man. But, man, holler at them immediately. You might have to roll up on somebody's door if you have to, but I need my money and I need my money on time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So got that going on. So whatever.
Well, I have another question then. If they don't pay, do you have to pay the management fee?
Well, not if I didn't get paid, not for this month. I guess what they'll be doing is throwing it back on Airbnb for this month. But like I said, I think like they said, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because she said the one that works with me, Nicole, she said that well, they're working on get you another long-term renter as we speak, because there's like a waiting list to get long-term renters into these spots. And so, okay, well then that's all I know. Anything else? Have you heard anything else? And so I'm just waiting. I mean, it'd be great if I get another long-term stayer in there, like you said. If there is that waiting list, and they're trying to accommodate one right now. Plus, I get that cancellation fee or whatever from that person that was staying there. Yeah, that would be a win-win. But I don't like the no communication part. I like keep me in the loop. Let me know something. Hey, even if just like, hey, we're still working on it. Hey, this or that, But man, just like cutting me off cold, that's a big deal. Where's my money?
Yeah. How long does their communication usually take?
It just depends. It could be immediate sometimes when it's whatever issue, like a small thing. But if like something like this, the last time I asked was about 6:30 today. And nothing. But I asked. Wait a minute. I asked before that at 10:37 a.m. and nothing. So I hadn't had a response all day from them on this situation. I'm just saying.
Hey, man, I might have to jump ship on that shit. No, I'm playing. I don't know, man.
Just like Mike G said, you might throw one property at them, see how they do,
Yeah, that's a fact.
And then if they do good, do another one at them. Like I said, well, they technically were doing good because they got that first one rented out for a year, and so that's why I give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll throw this one at them, and so hopefully they're not just dropping balls, man. So we will see.
I hate to hear that, man. Yeah, you got your paper on the first, man.
But like you said, deposit, right? That's like the one. At least send me that freaking deposit. They're not going to get the deposit back if they jump ship without any notice.
Okay, I'm going to give you a position on that a little bit, and that kind of happened to me with this condo I'm in right now. So I worked out a deal with the lady who checked in. It was a bad deal on my part. I was being too nice. So she ended up canceling her lease early, but I'm not keeping her deposit because of the lease that I made up for her. I told her due to COVID, because I know a lot of nurses are not really losing their jobs, but their contracts are getting cut short. So I put a clause in there like, yeah, if you get your contract cut short, I won't charge you if you have to cut the lease. You know what I mean? I should have protected myself because I don't know, but she had to go back to New York, but I don't know if she really had to, or, hey, you just know you can get out this lease, So I know a lot of nurses are coming with that. So even like it might have happened to your property management crew. I don't know. But to me, I look at it as a win for me because now I can go ahead and get this thing sold and get to where I want to be. You know what I mean? But yeah, you definitely got to watch leases right now with COVID going on. You know what I mean? You got to be real careful with what they're telling you and what you put in the lease. I keep it 100 with you. My personal experience, collect the security deposit. If you cancel the lease early, sorry, your security deposit is not refundable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Simple real estate 101 stuff right there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they implemented it.
Yeah. And that's a good question because I don't – it's so hard with COVID going on, bro. Like even I got into one of them situations where, I kind of slid it by, but I got to send a $500 deposit. I ain't tripping, because I signed it. It was on me.
Yeah, no. You live and learn, right?
This
COVID thing is throwing everything for a loop.
It is. That's exactly what it is. But yeah, man.
And I'm understanding. And if it was something like that, yeah, I would understand. But she knew the surgery might happen, and she was. I don't know. I learned it from across the hall. What's her name? Sarah was doing another unit across the hall from that one, from my unit upstairs. And she had just bumped into the lady, they just got a small talk and she's saying, yeah, I love this place, but, I might have to get surgery and I won't be able to go up and down the stairs, blah, blah, blah. So Sarah sent me a heads up and I sent it to local. And of course, and they started, like I said, they didn't reach out to me. I had to hit them up a bunch of times. Hey, talk to this girl, try to accommodate her to the bottom one, and then I'll rent that one on Airbnb again. And I guess they said they did, after the fact, whatever they did. I don't know if they dropped the ball or something like that because she's not going to stay. She's going to leave altogether.
Yeah.
And the reason is because of the surgery. It's not because, she's getting, transferred to another hospital or whatever, this and that. She that's what she said that was going to happen. She gave no notice. And then they said, all right, well, all they said was, well, if you're not going to stay this next month, you got to leave right now. Which is even more weird because she was going to leave like on the 7th, right? And they said, no, well, you're not going to pay for this month. You got to leave right now. And so she left like today.
My question is, was this a traveling nurse?
Yeah, travel nurse. But she's getting surgery on her foot, so she won't be able to walk.
Damn. And
whatever. Anyways, so it's a mess right now, and I don't know.
Man, dude,
either way, I think the unit's a great unit, and I think it's gonna still do good on whatever short-term rental platform or long-term or whatever. So
you got to keep that positivity. It will, man. It'll bounce back.
But like the big thing I got out of Mike, listening to Mike G, well, especially with the managing the managers part, is like he interviews them. I didn't do that. I just said, okay, well, here you go, And now I'm learning this shit as I go. I said, okay, so what if a long-term deal comes at y'all? What are y'all gonna do? Let me see your lease. Let me see how you have it written. And then they'll show it to me, and I'll say, okay, well maybe you should put a deposit just in case they want to try to leave or break the lease. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. Just talk to them before I sign a contract for them to be the my managers. That's
your expectations.
That's a simple thing, but it's like, wow, that's a huge deal right there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't hire an employee at McDonald's without freaking interviewing them first, right?
That's real, man. That's real talk, man. That's real talk.
So anyways, that's where we're at. And this is a great episode. I love doing this. I love learning and growing and every, there's no failures. There's no failures. It's just learning experiences, right?
Yeah. I'm going to say I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy sometimes learning's a bitch, but I mean, you got to do it. You know what I mean? That's really you. It's like, damn, I lost money on this. You know what I mean? But you got to do it. But like you said, you got to do the interview. And I'm going to kind of say something off of from my marriage mastermind from last night I was on. In life, don't skip steps. Straight up, don't skip steps. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you go through life on the proper steps. Interviewing people. You know what I'm saying? We can't skip steps out here. When we skip steps, it comes back to bite us.
Every time. Every time.
Yeah. So yeah, you can catch us on Live Let Thrive, Instagram, Live Let Thrive. We always post a new good content. You can email us at liveletthrive@gmail.com and hit us up on IG. Not only follow us, but you can follow our personal pages, Myka Artist and Stephen Shea Suarez. And they're actually below us, both those links. But yeah, live and you learn, but don't let it get to you. You already know you're a hustler. You're a whole hustler. It's going to come back to you.
Live and let and thrive.
Yeah, and we are out.
Later.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.